Arichandvaktar and group. The times once again, Friday 17th September at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday 18th September at 2 p.m. This program is sponsored by Sandman 2020 Car Sales Services Limited, located at number 29 Naparima Mayaro Road, Kokie Village, San Fernando. Telephone 1-868-652-0443.
Namaste, Sitaram, Sairam, everyone. Friends and family of Neil and family, I want to wish you a warm welcome. This is the third day of our 2021 Ganesh Utsav. It's a significant event in the Hindu Sanatanist calendar. I'm so happy, despite the COVID restrictions, you all have turned up to support Neil and his family and the Shrotas in this event. This evening, we have a true son of the soil. Very much to introduce, but to let you know that he's really from this soil. This lane, Shiraji Lane, is named after his Aji. And this land, the Spring Land Development, is really his ancestral property, that he has turned it into a gold mine. As Suraj always said, what you really do with what your parents give you, how you improve it, that is your measure of success. I say no more, because he is a son of this soil. Dr. Rambachan, all the way to you. Thank you.
Let us pray. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Pavasar Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashikarikam Namami Vigneshwari Paripankajam Shuklambaradharam Devam Shashivaranam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Varanam Dhyaye Sarva Vigno Pashyante Om Siddhi Buddhi Prade Devi Bhukti Mukti Pradayani Mantra Murti Sada Devi Mahalakshmi Namostute Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramanandamadhavam Yam Brahma Varuninda Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavashtita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yashantam Navidu Surasuraganah Devaya Tasmai Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My dear friends, let me also join in warmly welcoming in each and every one to this evening's Ganesh Utsav celebrations and worship of the God who is popularly known as the one who removes obstacles, but He's also the one who grants wisdom, the one who grants prosperity. But apart from all of that, He is the God of the intellect. The intellect, the level at which we learn and love to make right decisions. And tonight we particularly pray to Him, Lord, as we continue our existences upon this earth. Be the one to guide our intellect so that our mind will guide our actions to do always that which is moral, that which is right, and that which is just. To you, Lord Ganesh, we bow. To you, Lord Ganesh, we supplicate. This Ganesh prayer that I'm about to offer says, O Lord, Thou art unborn, absolute and formless. Thou art beyond bliss, and against You are bliss itself. You are one. You are the infinite. You are the supreme. We offer our worship to You. Parabrahma Rupam Ganesham Bhajema. We offer our salutations and our worship to You. Ajam nire vikalpam nirakaramekam niranandamanand madvaitya purnam param nire gunam nire vishesham nireham parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema gunatitamanam chidanandarupam chidabhasakam sarva gamyangamyam munidheyamakash rupam paresham parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema jagat karanam karanagyanarupam suradim sukhadim gunesham ganesham jagat vyapinam vishwa vandhyam suresham parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema parbrahmarupam ganesham bhajema. Before I begin with my first bhajan, let me congratulate warmly Dheeraj and Ivan for the really, really beautiful songs, Dheeraj, and the devotion with which you sang. You have really inspired me to sing tonight. I really mean that from my heart. May God bless you with long life. May God bless you with a strong voice. And may God bless Ivan with beautiful hands and safe hands to continue the worship of Lord. May Ganesh remove every obstacle that stands in your way of success. सतयुग की एक बात बताए, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाए। सतयुग की एक बात बताए, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाए। सतयुग की एक बात बताए, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाए। प्रात स्नान की बेला थी वो, कोई न था पहरा देखा जो। पुकारे और बालक ने रोके द्वारे। शिव ने कोप की या तब भारी, ले त्रिशूल निज सुत पे चढ़ाई।
सतयुग की एक बात बताई, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाई।
शीश उतारा उस बालक का, व्याकुल हाल था पार्वती का। भूल हुए शंकर ना जानी, कैसे किसको प्राण दिलाए।
सतयुग की एक बात बताई, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाई।
बोली सती की जीव हो ऐसा, जो मांगे सन मुख ना सोई। श्री श्री घूम के देखा शिव ने, ऐसे तो गज सुत ही आई।
सतयुग की एक बात बताई, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाई।
शीश ले आए प्रभु गज सुत का, बालक हो कब जन्म दिलाया। उस दिन से बन गई गजानन, श्री गणेश गणपति कहलाए।
सतयुग की एक बात बताई, गिरिजा सुत की कथा सुनाई।
जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा।
जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा।
जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा।
जय गणपति जय गजानना,
जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय गणपति जय गजानना, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय जय गणेश गणराजा, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय जय गणेश गणराजा, जय जय गणेश गणराजा। जय गणपति जय गजानना,
जय जय गणेश गणराजा।
Earlier this evening, Pandit Neil would have performed the very important puja to Lord Ganesh. And I thought that that is where I will start this evening, by a comment on the puja that was done. Very professionally, excellent puja. I sat there and I enjoyed every moment of the puja, the devotion of the shrotas who were performing alongside. Brothers and sisters, we have come here this evening with three things in mind. Or we have come blessed, as it were, or we have embraced three qualities in our lives here this evening. Firstly, we have come here with bhakti. We have come here with devotion. Because we believe that in praising God, in bowing before God, that God will respond to our cries, that God will respond to our wishes. Secondly, we have come with shraddha. We have come with faith. We believe, we have a strong faith that God is going to respond to our cries. And thirdly, we have come here in order to ensure that the desires of our hearts are going to be fulfilled, and that Ganesh, we believe, is going to be the one to remove any obstacles that stand between us and our success. Now, there is one aspect of the puja that I want to comment upon before I start. But here this evening, Panditji would have done 16 items of puja, 16 different offerings he would have made. These days, this is often compromised, and the full 16 offerings are not generally made. But Pandit would have begun with the invocation. And then, after the invocation, which was the very first offering of the puja, he would have invited God to take a seat, asanam. Then he would have used water to wash the feet of God, padyam. And then use water to wash the hands of the devotees, arghyam. And then water for sipping, archanameyam, which is the purification of ourselves. And then the Lord would have been given a bath, snanam. Then the Lord would have been given clothes, vastram. And then the Lord would have been given the sacred thread, yagnopavitam. And then the sandal paste would have been placed on the Lord, gandham. And then flowers and garlands would have been offered with the chanting of mantras. Pushpa Malyadi it's called. But the ceremony itself in the 16 invocation is called archan. And then dhupam, incense would have been offered. And then the diya, deepam, would have been lit. And then naivedyam, sweets and fruits and prasad that you provided would have been brought. And then the ceremony of tambulam, where betel leaves along with betel nuts would have been offered to God. Now you might wonder why you offer betel nuts and betel leaves to God. Why? Have you ever asked that question? When you eat food, you normally need a digestive to digest the food. And do you know that's why the betel leaves have been offered to God? In order that it reminds us of the need to digest the food. And then, of course, will come the sacred light, burning camphor, circumambulation, going around the murti, niranjanam, arti, pradakshinam, and finally the offering of flowers with the chanting of mantras, mantra pushpanjali. Now, this type of puja, as you notice, will take considerable time. It took about an hour to be performed. And this is a special occasion, unlike Vinayak Chaturthi, when there are marriages and housewarming ceremonies, you'll find that these 16 ceremonies are done. But I want to comment upon Archan, the offering of flowers. That major thing has been done here today. Now, flowers represent something very important in our personality. It is called vasanas. And I'll explain what vasanas are. We go through several births. And once we have desires in one life that are unfulfilled, we bring them over in another life. Because our desires don't die with us. What dies is the physical body. But the desires don't die. And it is because of the existence of the desires that we are propelled into another body, an appropriate form in order to complete those desires. What are called vasanas. Vasanas are of three types. In our lives, we are doing different quality of actions. We do sattvic actions, very pure actions. We do rajasic actions, actions that are probably much more aggressive and probably actions that, hurt others. Although rajasic actions could have a good side to it too, because sometimes you need to be aggressive in life against evil. And then you have the tamasic actions, which are actions of a low quality nature. So every one of us have rajasic, tamasic, and sattvic results in our lives. Because of the actions we have formed. Karma brings phala. The quality of our karma brings a fruit. And the fruits are of three kinds, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Now, these are called vasanas. And we have them in different proportions. So, this offering of a flower is really an offering of the vasanas. Because unless the vasanas are brought to an end, unless these vasanas, these desires that are unfulfilled are brought to an end, we'll continue the cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jataye shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare, kripaya pari pahi murari, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam. This process of crossing over, as it were, from one shore to the other shore, from the shore of sorrow to the shore of peace, becomes very difficult unless we bring the vasanas to an end. And the only way the vasanas could be brought to an end is through appropriate action. Only karma can bring an end to karma. The phalas, the fruits we have accumulated in one life, can only be brought to an end by how we perform actions in this life. So, these vasanas that we have brought from our other lives expresses themselves through our thoughts, our words, our deeds. So if we have very rajasic vasanas, you'll find our words and deeds reflect that rajasic, that aggression. If we have sattvic vasanas, you'll find we're very peaceful and our words are very peaceful and our lives are very harmonious and what have you. And if you have tamasic vasanas, you'll find that there's a lot of slothfulness, there's a lot of laziness, sleeping late, not very attentive to one's needs and what have you. Almost sometimes descending to a life that looks like a vagrant. So all of these vasanas, we have to bring an end. And in worshipping the Lord with flowers, which represents vasanas, we are symbolically surrendering at His feet those vasanas. And we do so with a prayer. The Pandit would chant a prayer when that's done. The prayer says, in translated, O Lord, please accept these vasanas of mine and purify them by Thy touch, so that the thoughts, words, and deeds springing from these vasanas are rendered glorious and beautiful as Thy names which I chant along with the offering of our flowers. Now, as a symbolic expression of the surrendering of those vasanas, what does the devotee do? The devotee picks up one flower, but doesn't pick up the one flower with one finger. The devotee picks up the flower with the 5 fingers, like this. 5 fingers all together. And the fingers drooping downwards while picking up the flower denote the 5 sense organs. You know, it's through the sense organs that we perceive and we act. It denotes the 5 sense organs, which in their present condition are really turned outwards. And if we only operate in the external world with the sense organs, we find that we are going to develop problems. Not that we're not going to achieve, but we're also going to develop problems because the sense organs, as we try to achieve with the sense organs, if there is no control, then the sense organs will control us. So, when the flower is picked up with all the 5 fingers together, it is symbolic of one vasana that lies enmeshed in our extrovertedness. So the palm then is turned upwards. The palm is then turned upwards with the flower held by them, denoting that our now extrovertedness, our outward looking life and concentration just on the outward life is now turned inward towards the Lord. And the palm with the flower is then brought close to the right side of the chest, while the mantra is being chanted, as it were close to the spiritual heart. And the mantra ends with the word Namaha, I offer to you. And the hand is then extended towards the feet of the Lord, and the fingers are opened and the flowers are released. Thus, with the chanting of every name of God, one flower is picked up and offered at His feet, symbolizing the surrendering of one's vasanas or one vasana. And sometimes devotees chant 108 names of God, or 108 times the mantra. Sometimes they do 1,000 names of God. And this is called Arichan. So it's a very important ceremony, Pandit, that you perform here this evening and the devotees perform. And that is one of the reasons we are here. We are here to offer our vasanas to God. And God is ready to receive those vasanas. God is ready to receive those vasanas. So let's sing another bhajan. And after that bhajan, I will engage in another part of my discourse. Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh.
Gauri Ganesh
Ganapati Ganesh,
Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh,
Gauri Ganesh,
Shumamahe,
Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh, Gauri Ganesh,
Shumamahe, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh,
Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh,
Sharanam Ganesh, Sharanam Ganesh,
Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh,
Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh,
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh,
Gauri Ganesh, Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh,
Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh,
Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh.
Now, the next question I want to ask is this. What it is that you want to give up here this evening? I spoke about Archan and giving up the vastness. But spend a moment thinking tonight what it is about your personality that you would like to give up. What would you like to get rid of? Because if worship is meant to make us better persons, then worship by itself cannot make you a better person. It will strengthen your resolve. But you have to make a conscientious effort to, in fact, give up something. Unless you give up something, nothing, in fact, changes. Do you agree with that? Unless you give up something, nothing changes. The only way that things can change is if we are prepared to give up something. We are prepared to give up something. And what it is that we have to give up. What it is that we have to give up. I can't tell you what to give up. But you will know the things that are causing friction in your life. You would know the things that are causing unhappiness in your life. You would know the things that are causing you to be a sorrowful person, a depressed person, a distressed person. And therefore, meditation is really a form of reflection on what are the things in my life that I need to improve. If life is a journey from the human state to the divine state, if life is a ladder of spiritual progress, and if we truly believe that life is about the attainment of moksha, freedom from sorrow, and bringing an end to the cycle of births and deaths, then that can only happen if we make a conscientious effort to give up that which is now inhibiting our lives. And the worship of Lord Ganesh is directed in this way. Because as the remover of obstacles, we have to identify the obstacles that are preventing us from really enjoying a more blissful life, a more peaceful life. Now, what are these qualities? In one of the Puranas, the Mudgala Puran, there are 8 important avatars of Lord Ganesh. And you'll see what are these qualities. And why Lord Ganesh comes in a particular form in order to help us through our worship to overcome this. And each one of these 8 incarnations are what we call avatars. Avatar means the Lord taking on a seemingly human form or any appropriate form so that he can lead man from the human state to the divine state. If you look at the life of Ram, you know, you'll say Ram came like an ordinary human being, but his actions and what he did and how he spoke helps man to lift himself, as does Sri Krishna through his Bhagavad Gita. So, there are 8 incarnations of Ganesh according to the Mudgala Puran. And you'll see how important these 8 incarnations are. The first is the incarnation of the Lord in the form of Vakratunda. And we chant Vakratunda, Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sadvara. And when he came in the form of Vakratunda, he came riding a lion. And why does he take this incarnation? You know why? To remove what is called Matsara, rivalry. Our world is in chaos because of rivalry. Our world is in chaos because of impatience. Our world is in chaos because everyone wants to conquer the other, not realizing that nature is the biggest conqueror. If COVID-19 didn't teach us a lesson about who is in charge, then I hope that it has done so now. That nature is now responding, Mother Nature is now responding to us by showing how dissatisfied she is with the condition of her world. So, Vakratunda, to destroy rivalry. So if you think that you have too much rivalry in your family or in your community, worship Ganesha as Vakratunda. Then he took the incarnation as Ekadanta. And in this incarnation, he comes riding the mouse. And he comes here to remove conceit. Conceit. Mad Asura. Mother Asura. Asura means demon. Mad means conceit. The demon of conceit. In other words, we are all very conceited people. Selfish people. And because of selfishness, we hoard. And because of selfishness, others suffer. You know, one of the things about Hinduism, it teaches us that in the acquisition of what we want in life, particularly earth and karma, we must do so without denying another person their rights to equally also achieve that. And that is dharma. That we must go about achieving our earth and karma, but not at the expense of the rights of another person. So if we find that we are doing this and we are full with selfishness, then we worship Ganesh as Ekadanta to remove the asura of mud, conceit. And then he came as Mahodara, riding a mouse. And he comes here to overpower a very, very negative quality, the quality of delusion. Delusion is a very negative quality. It's a quality in which you tend to believe about yourself untruths. In other words, you tend to believe lies about yourself. And those lies, you almost make them truths about yourself, not realizing you are believing lies about yourself. With delusion, you are subject to flattery. So people can flatter you and make you believe things about yourself that are not untrue, simply because they want something from you. So worshipping the Lord, Ganesh, as Mahodara, is intended to remove this delusion. Don't live delusional lives. Don't believe untruths about yourself. Be truthful to yourself. Lord, this is what I am. This is what I need to remove. This is what I need to control. And then in the fourth incarnation, according to the Mudgala Puran, he came to remove Lobha Asura. Lobh means greed. Greed. The demon of greed. Now, you know, I'll tell you a little story that's really very interesting. When I was teaching at the University of the West Indies in the 1970s, I had two pairs of shoes, a black shoe and a brown shoe. And very sincerely, I only had these two pairs of shoes because if I wore black pants, I would wear a black shoe. If I wore brown pants or other color, I will wear the brown shoes. And my father, he was very upset that his son was teaching in university but going every day with the same shoes. And I remember my father coming home one day with a Clark shoes on me and telling me, you must wear this shoe to go and teach. Go and teach. But you see, we have to learn how to control our desires, otherwise we will get greedy. Lobh. And greed is a very dangerous quality because greed can lead you into trouble. You know, in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks Lord Krishna a very interesting question. He says, Lord, please tell me, what is it that drives a man to do wrong, even though in his heart he knows what he's going to do is wrong? And Lord Krishna looked at him and answered, he says, the Satan is greed. Greed causes a man to do that which, even though he knows it to be true, he does it. That's the power of greed. And we worship Lord Ganesh in the form of Gajananan in order to remove greed, vanquishing the Lobha Asura. So that's why we worship. That's whenever we talk about Gajananan, Bhuta Ganadi Sevitam, Kapita Jambu Palasada Bhakshi, we worship at Gajananan is to help us to remove greed. Then he came as Lambodara. to remove a very, very dangerous quality again. And that is the Krodha Asura. Krodha is anger. The Krodha Asura, anger. Control over one's anger is the result of the practice of patience. But the practice of patience only comes about if you try to understand the motivations and behavior of a person. If you respond to the behavior of a person, you're going to get into conflict. But if you step back and say what it is that is causing the person to behave like the person is behaving, then you are going to go to understanding rather than confrontation. And that is what he teaches here. Krodha Asura, remover of anger. And then in the sixth incarnation, he came riding a peacock, Vikata, and to remove Kamasura, Kama, lust that causes so much immorality in the world. And then in the seventh incarnation, he came riding the celestial serpent Sesh, and he was known as Vignaraja. And in this incarnation, he came to help the devotees remove attachment. Attachment brings about a lot of pain. When you attach to things and you lose them, you are full of pain. Whether it's to physical objects or whether it is to people. Not that you mustn't love people, not that you mustn't love something nice, but you have to understand that these things are fleeting and they will change. You have to come back and say what it is that is changeless. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivom. I am the soul of knowledge and bliss. I am changeless. I am changeless. Everything else is changing. Everything else is changing. The world is changing every day. Nothing lasts. So, this Mama Asura, attachment, he helps us to control. And finally, he came as Dhumra Varna, the Dhumra Varna incarnation, to remove Abhiman, pride, false pride. There is nothing wrong in saying that I don't know. There is nothing wrong in saying that, look, I need to know. There is nothing wrong in describing one's limitations. One never progresses as long as one is afraid to admit one's limitations. If you don't admit your limitations, then you're not going to progress in life. To progress in life, you have to admit your limitations. So brothers and sisters, we share another bhajan, and then I'll continue with the core of my discourse tonight. Prani re कर्म कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने कहाँ छुपेगा रे पानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने कहाँ छुपेगा रे पानी प्राणी रे काहे छुपेगा रे पानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने परमात्मा भी जाने कितने ही पर्दों में पाप कमाया तू कितने जतों से भेद छुपाए तू, कितने पर्दों में पाप कमाए तू, कितने जतों से भेद छुपाए तू, भले बुरे की कहानी रानी रे, भले बुरे की कहानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने,
परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने।
कहाँ छुपेगा रे प्राणी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने,
तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने।
प्रभु के द्वारा तेरा आन बहुत है, बोलन बोल पछे काना ही बहुत है, प्रभु के द्वारे तेरे आन बहुत है, बोलना बोल पछे काना ही बहुत है, जो है विपदा सुनानी रानी जो है विपदा सुनानी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने,
परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने
तेरे
कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने।
कहाँ छुपेगा रे प्राणी तेरे आत्मा भी जाने,
परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने।
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय,
गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय,
गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय,
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय।
तेरे कर्म कहानी
तेरे आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने तेरे कर्म कहानी, तेरी आत्मा भी जाने, परमात्मा भी जाने।
Mr. Mangu, you are excellent drummer. Excellent drummer. So tonight I will conclude with the story I came to share with you from the Padma Puran of our Puranas, and it is about an interpretation of the birth of Lord Ganesh. The very first bhajan we sang here tonight, Satyuga ki ek baat bataye. Every verse describes what happened. Shiva's home and Parvati's home that led to the birth of of Ganesh, and also how his head was cut off and the elephant's head was placed. That entire bhajan is a description of the story of the birth of Lord Ganesh. But tonight I want to share with you from the Padma Puran the birth of Lord Ganesh, because there in the Padma Puran I have found a very beautiful beautifully documented and described story of his birth that has a tremendous philosophical meaning. It is said that Mother Parvati, out of the powder and oils with which she had besmeared her body, created a form with an elephant head, and having done so, she began to play with it. You know, the very oils that she would besmear her body with, the powder and so on, she scraped it off and she made this very beautiful idol, murti of Lord Ganesh. And she began to play with it. But she did more. She breathed life into it and then took it to the Ganges and offered it to Ma Ganga, to Ganga Ma in the Ganges. And as she offered it to Ganga Ma and immersed it in the waters of the Ganges, it began to grow in size. It began to grow in size. You know, when the Murti of Lord Ganesh was installed here for worship, Pandit will tell you that one of the ceremonies that would have been performed would be to breathe life into the Murti. So the Murti becomes, as it were, a living representation of God. And let me tell you something. We communicate to the divine through the Murtis. How many of us remember when the world was stunned, when the Murtis of Lord Ganesh everywhere were giving out milk, handing out milk? I have a nephew, he's now in his 20s, I believe, and studying for his PhD. And he was a baby in arms. And his mum took a brass spoon and held his hand and put it by a Murti of Lord Ganesh. And the Murti of Lord Ganesh filled the spoon with milk. Had I heard that from anybody else, I may not have believed it, but I believed it. And that Murti of Lord Ganesh is a very special Murti. He drank the milk. Sorry, he drank the milk. Sorry, he drank the milk. The Murti drank the milk. I'm still thinking about the baby drinking milk. So my mind goes into there. But the Murti drank the milk. And that Murti of Lord Ganesha is a very special Murti. It was a Murti that was given to my brother by Hariom Sharan. Hariom Sharan used to travel with that across the world, that Murti of Lord Ganesh. And he would invoke that Murti every time before he sang. And he left that Murti in my brother's house. So here, she took now this Murti that she made, and in which she had infused life into it, and she took it and placed it in the Ganges, offered it to Mother Ganga. And as she offered it there, it began to grow in size. And it was soon recognized that it was very knowledgeable and wise. And Mother Parvati called it her son. And it is said that the river into which it had been immersed, the river Gangama, also called the child her son. All the rishis came on hearing about how knowledgeable this child was and how full of wisdom this child was. And they gave it a place of prominence to be worshipped as Adi Deva. Adi means first, Deva means God, the first God. Such that in everything undertaken by man, man will always be blessed with two things: right knowledge and wisdom. If you don't have right knowledge and act on the basis of right knowledge or wisdom, you're always going to get into trouble. This is why Lord Ganesh is called the Lord of the Intellect. Let me explain something very quickly. The personality of man is made up of 5 sheets. Think of a big sheet like this, a big circle like this. This circle, let it represent for you this body, this physical body. This physical body is born, it grows on food, and it subsists with food. So it's called the Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya means food, Kosha means sheet. But within this Annamaya Kosha is what is called the Pranamaya Kosha, the air sheet. If you are not breathing, these hands can't work, the eyes can't see, the ears can't hear, the body is gone. So that's the second sheet within the second circle, right? The second circle within the big circle. Let's go to the third one now. The third one is called the Manomaya Kosha, the mental sheet. What you think, you become. Isn't that right? You don't just act impulsively, you know. Everything that happens twice. Once it becomes a thought, and then the thought gets expressed as action. So the quality of your mind determines the quality of your thoughts and the quality, therefore, of your actions. Manomaya Kosha. Then within that, there's another circle that is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellectual sheet. the seat of decision making. And that's important. Because if you learn to make proper decisions, and if you invest in yourself the right values that will guide your decisions, you find then the mind will have the proper thoughts, and the mind will then guide the actions to do the correct thing. And then beyond the Vijnanamaya Kosha is the Anandamaya Kosha, the bliss sheet, happiness and joy. And then there is Atma. So everything happens, if you want, from the inside out. So what is the quality of your intellect? If the quality of your intellect is poor, then the quality of your mind and thoughts will be poor, and therefore the quality of your actions will be poor. So we pray to Lord Ganesh, just like the rishis came and blessed him to be the Adi Deva. We pray to him that in everything undertaken, we will be blessed with right knowledge and wisdom. This is why he's called Vigneshwara, the Lord of the intellect. The Lord of the intellect. Brothers and sisters, the wisdom to choose right is made possible by right knowledge. And how is right knowledge attained? Right knowledge attained is attained by approaching the right teacher, the one who is learned. Just as students have to approach the right teacher to learn, so too you have to approach the right spiritual teacher in order to learn. Water in Hinduism has always symbolized knowledge. You remember how the Ganges came, brought along by the austerities and prayers of sage Bhagirathi. The Ganga was caught because of how strong it was caught by Lord Shiva in his jata, and from his head it flows throughout the world. So the water has always represented as knowledge flowing into the world. So when we talk about imbibing and drinking the water of the Ganges as knowledge, we are symbolically saying that we must always be imbibing and drinking that which makes us knowledgeable and wise. So water is the symbolism. It symbolizes divine knowledge, indicating that man in order to become wise like Lord Ganesh must dip where? Into the vast ocean of knowledge at the feet of a right teacher. You know, in Bhaja Govindam, had I had more time, I'll sing this to you tonight. There's a very famous verse of Adi Shankaracharya where he recommends that if one wants to achieve moksha, freedom from sorrow, then one must engage in right action. But to engage in right action, one must do three things. One, study the scriptures. He specifically says study the Bhagavad Gita. Two, sip the waters of the Ganges. Studying the scriptures is not enough, but turning the scriptures into knowledge. And then thirdly, worship Murari. Worship Lord Krishna. Murari means Mura, a demon whom Lord Krishna destroyed, is called Murari. Three things you do. Study the Bhagavad Gita, study scriptures, then sip the waters of the Ganges, immerse yourself in that knowledge so that your life becomes a reflection of that, and worship Murari. What is to worship Murari? Worship Murari means to worship the Lord in all creation. Hindus, Panditji, never ask the question where God is to be found. You know, Hindu ask another question, where God is not. You cannot say that God is here, there, and everywhere, and then deny the presence of God. And tomorrow I will talk about that. Where is Ganesh to be formed? Do we really believe, for example, that we are drowning God when we take him back into the pond? Study of the Bhagavad Gita is an indication of the search of knowledge of self. It enables one to answer the important question, who am I? What is my purpose? Where am I going? My dear friends, if there are three things we must ask ourselves in our lives, if you have not done it before, no matter what age you are, ask yourself, where have I come from? What is my purpose? And where am I going? If you don't have a vision of the end, you're going to be a lost soul in this world. Where are you going? If you don't have a purpose to live for, you're not going to have a passion to live. You must have a purpose. What is that purpose? And that purpose has to come from understanding, where did I come from and why am I here in this universe? What is the role I'm fulfilling in this universe? Is it simply to go to a place of work? Or do I have unique gifts and unique capabilities that I must use in order to enhance the lives of others? So I'll give you a really genuine example. Ivan and Devraj here this evening. They go to work, they earn money and so on. But that doesn't bring them joy. That's a means to an end. This is what brings them joy. And when they sang and played music like they played this evening while I was sitting there, I realized that, here are two people who are using their unique skills. The passion with which they sang can only emanate because they have a purpose. And what is that purpose? Your purpose is not just to sing for God. Your purpose really is to inspire people to move to God. You know, my brother once told me, he asked me a question. He said, you like to sing? And I said, yes. He said, but if there is no audience, can you sing just as well as you would sing before God as if there were a large audience? And that changed my whole philosophy of what my singing was about. You don't sing for others. You sing for God. That is then means that it comes from within. That is bhakti in action. That is bhakti in action. And that is what we are here to do also. How to gain bhakti into our everyday life. So sipping the water of the Ganges means to internalize now, having gained the knowledge, internalize the knowledge gained from study and meditations on the Gita. And the worship of Murari, which is another name for Lord Krishna, means to constantly use that knowledge and the insights gained to keep destroying Mura. Mura means ego, Abhiman, in all its forms. And eventually to make all life worship. All life worship. Everything we do in life must become worship. You know, Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, he said, when you offer something to someone, do not see the tilt of their nose. Do not think about whether they are crook or whether they are a raja or a rank or what have you. Don't think about that at all. Think about something else. Think about me, the receiver seated in the hearts of all beings, and make the offering to me. And when you do so, then your offering becomes a divine offering because it's offered to me. Forget about who is the receiver. You cannot judge what the person is going to do or what they have done or not done. But just make it as an offering to me, seated in the hearts of all beings. And then it becomes a worshipful offering. A worshipful offering. So all of life becomes a life of worship. This is what Mahatma Gandhi used to say. All actions must be worshipful actions. So my dear brothers and sisters, the dipping of the murti of Ganesh by Parvati into the Ganga, its growth into a large form, is symbolic of the growth of knowledge and wisdom, and indicates that we too must submerge ourselves into the ocean of knowledge and thereby grow in wisdom to make right choices. If you don't remember anything, just remember that you're worshipping Ganesh to develop your intellect to make right choices and right decisions. Brothers and sisters, the story has one more important lesson for all of us. Like Mother Parvati, we all give birth to children. However, our responsibility doesn't stop there. We have the additional responsibility to endow them with the right values and knowledge if they are to be purposeful human beings. This is a parent's responsibility. And our joy will come from the fact that like Sri Ganesh was revered and worshipped by all and admired by the rishis, also because of his commitment to his mother and the way he defended her, so too we will be proud of our children, who because of the practice of right values that we teach them, they will also be revered. Look, a parent doesn't really be very interested in whether the child is rich or what. Your parent wants to know, is the child living a good life? Is the child behaving well? And so on. This is the greatest pleasure of any parent. And so, Panditji, we have come to the end. Jai Ganesha Deva, 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 Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva,
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva, Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva,
Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Mata Jage Parvati Pita Mahadeva, Pita Mahadeva,
Pita Mahadeva,
लदवन को भोग लगे संत करे सेवा, लदवन को भोग लगे
संत करे सेवा,
अनधन को आंख देता निर्बल को काया,
अंधन को आँख देत निर्बल को काया,
अनधन को आंख देता निर्बल को काया,
अंधन को आँख देत निर्बल को काया,
निर्बल को काया,
निर्बल को काया,
बांझों को पुत्र देता निर्धन को माया,
बांझन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े मेवा, और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े मेवा, और चढ़े मेवा,
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा।
जय गणेश देवा,
जय गणेश देवा,
जय गणेश देवा,
जय गणेश देवा,
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
और चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा,
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े, जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश देवा,
जय गणेश देवा, जय गणेश देवा,
हार चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा, सूरदास शरण आयो सफल करो सेवा,
सूरदास शरण आयो सफल करो सेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा, माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा, माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या रविनं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेवा। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सियावर रामचंद्र की, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की, श्री जगजानंद स्वामी की। ओम जय जय सीताराम।
Sitaram. Join us on Sankhya television for the Ganesh Utsav Foundation's annual Ganesh Utsav Yagna. Pandit Sunil Sitahal Maharaj officiates 9 nights of Ganesh Utsav Yagna from Saturday 11th September to Sunday 19th September. Each evening from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Then from the 20th September till the 22nd September, Pandit Sunil Sitahal Maharaj officiates his annual 3 nights Garud Puran Yajna. Again, the time being 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Please note once again the times for this Yajna will be from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.